Hello, 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 everyone, and happy final Friday of January 2026. It's so hard to believe this first month of the new year has absolutely flown by. Sorry, it's a little tardy party for tonight. Still battling a little bit under the weather, but so glad that all of you are here to hang out with me tonight. So I am live. It is 11 p.m. on the East Coast. So if that's the indication to you that I'm live, please come on in and say hello. I hope everyone is doing well. Once again, we're bracing for another winter wonderland, at least somewhere on the East Coast. Again, the second weekend in a row for inclement weather. So you guys stay warm out there. All right. So this is a small shout out real quick to Pink Fan Fur for the realest real creations out there. And as well, Strilla, Brian Arndt, who does all the production behind the scenes. Tonight, I want to give a special shout out to my new nail tech, Esther. She's in Atlanta, guys. Um, Dream Nails. I mean, she is amazing. So make sure you check her out. Hit me up for the info. Her info will be on our promo going soon. But let's talk about this little lull that we have while we are awaiting for the new season to blend in from the Super Bowl that is coming up on next week. So let's talk about everything that's going on with that. A lot of contractual discussions being held behind the scenes. Y'all know it's free agency time. In a couple of months, we'll have the NFL draft. So teams will be looking to see where they can find those missing pieces and preferably accentuate what they already have. And by the way, shout out to my girl Katrina Harris as well for the brows and lashes today and the hair. So thank you so much, girl. All right. Here we go, guys. So the NFL, let's start with the biggest news. The NFL, believe it or not, y'all, has now we've talked about this a couple seasons ago. You guys remember the salary cap, the discussion about where does it all stop? If you got $1 million, I need 1,000,001. Well, the NFL is projected to actually have a massive salary cap jump for 2026. So for all you guys out there that actually have, teams that you're waiting for your franchise player to be kept, then you got to make sure you are doing well. What's up, Tharu from Nepal? Thank you so much for joining me. And hello to Vaishon. Hello, hello. You are not late. We are just on. Thank you so much for joining me, Vaishon. I'm shouting you out. Thank you so much for the love and everything. But guys, a massive salary cap jump. So that means these guys are going to get more money, crossing the $300 million threshold for the first time in NFL history. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Like, I don't know if Roger Goodell has the U.S. Mint in his backyard or not, but $300 million for all of these guys that are on the field is a lot of money. Now, how it's going to be spread across the different 32 teams will be determined in the future. But let's look at some stuff. The league actually informed the clubs the 2026 cap will land between $301.2 million and $305.7 million, up from $279.2 million this season. So they were under 300 million this season in the 2025-26 season. 26-27. Oh, they are tagging in like almost another $30 million in salary cap. Now, you guys will remember a few years ago, they were saying there were some issues with salary cap issues, but it's like these guys are saying, hey, we're playing in the wind, the snow, all these elements, and we're getting these hits. And this is not a glamorous life after the game is over with. We need more money and we need it now. So that's what they're doing. And for example, a team like the Tennessee Titans could actually enter free agency with $100 million in cap space. That's going to be big for them because the Titans really need to get some people down there. They've got to do better. They've got to do better. Cam needs the help down there as a now second season rookie quarterback, and they just have to do better. Now, other teams like the Browns, with Shedeur Sanders officially being named the starting quarterback. They no longer have Kevin Stefanski as their coach. They already got somebody else up there. Suddenly have a breathing room thanks to the higher projection. So they were having some financial issues, but thanks to these higher caps, this is allowing teams to spend more money on the guys that they need, the weapons they need. You guys know how y'all talk about all that. So free agency is going to be big because think about it. A lot of players out there, and we'll talk about that here shortly, are free agents. And y'all know what that means. Okay, they are bargaining for a higher contract, or they want to have permission to go to the highest bidder. So we're going to talk about those guys here shortly. But the Browns were expected, let's go back to them for a second. They were expected to actually have $20 million, y'all, over the cap. So that was a huge problem for them. But because of this new cap increase, it's going to really change everything for that franchise. So hopefully, Shador can get what he needs up there. Myles Garrett, they can, make things happen. But the biggest question is Deshaun Watson is going to have a contract restructure. Now, y'all will remember, it feels like he's been a quarterback up there for a very long time. Well, he hasn't, but he has, if it makes sense. His contract's got to get restructured, y'all. After all, he's not even taking these snaps. There was a contractual obligation a couple of seasons ago that some of the leagues were coming up with saying, hey, if you're not taking these snaps, we're not paying you. But some kind of way Deshaun had in his contract, he's still collecting money. And when's the last time you guys seen him in a uniform? I'm just saying. So because of that, his contract is going to be restructured. And not only that, this is 2 off seasons in a row that he has not been a starting quarterback or played. So that's going to swing that $20 million with this restructure to $10 million because they're going to get $10 million from Deshaun's contract as well to go into the free agency to get some actual help up there in Cleveland. Now, the Detroit Lions, they have a league-wide cap limit. Let's talk about their impact as a fact. They were projected to be $8.26 million over the midpoint of the new cap range. So this $305 million, they're already projected to be $8 million over that. So Detroit is like, that's not even enough money for us. Go ahead and raise it up to $350, y'all, and be done with it for the next several seasons. But think about it. This is going to force them and other teams actually, to enter in some contractual decisions on extensions and restructures of some of these highest paid guys that they already have on the field. So if you look at it, it only makes sense because I'm gonna be honest, y'all. If y'all not winning, are you really in a position to ask for more money? And this is where it gets really dirty. It gets really nasty. Everybody's like, hey, we may not be winning, but look at my individual stats. And I personally deserve this increase. So if it doesn't happen, you guys know what's next. You're going to hear about trades. You're going to hear about free agency and franchise tags and all that stuff. All right, let's talk about this Super Bowl coming up. And this is like, okay, a very detailed segment on this. So you guys already know, if you were watching the other day on my Wednesday show, I came on, I talked about the fact that Drake May has possibly been playing with this injury, but of course he's going to play. You guys know it's like technically week, 25 for them? Like, I don't know, like 4 more weeks. In addition, week 22 at least that they've been playing, notwithstanding the bye that they had. Seattle Seahawks that are 14-3 versus the New England Patriots, which are also 14-3. February 8th, of course, you guys know that's coming up. Levi Stadium. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time on NBC. You don't want to miss that, guys. That's going to be really big. They have a lot of good commercials, if for no other reason. If you're like me, I don't have a dog in the fight. And honestly, even though Drake May has Carolina ties, as he's from the University of North Carolina, and he actually was a Panthers fan, or probably still is in some segments. He's from there. Sam Darnold, the former Carolina Panther. I just, I'm like root for him a little bit, but there's several Carolina connections on both sides of the ball. But I just named those 2 as the starter. But this is the first Super Bowl appearance for the Seattle Seahawks since 2014, and this is the Patriots' 12th appearance. Now, you guys know they already got like 2 hands of jewelry. They've already started on the second hand for their rings. So they're going to be really trying to ball out. Sam Darnold has been outstanding, of course, 4,048 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions in the regular season. So it's kind of like half and half in the interception for the regular season. But 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions for the playoffs. So definitely solid play across the board for Seahawks. Yet national media still questions Sam Darnold due to old narratives from his Jets and Panthers years. Now, you guys probably have heard me say a few times during the regular season, when will we see old Sam? Jet Sam or Panther Sam. That gets you like 4 or 5 wins, and then it's like it depends on the pieces that are around him. If they're not around him and they're not well and they're not doing what they need to do, then Sam is limited and he will not be his absolute best self. So, their defense is going to be the saving grace if you think about it. Like literally, Seattle's defense is dominant, has been dominant. It doesn't matter if they have 1 or 2 people missing, they still come up and they make these plays. And you guys, I am live. It is 11:13 p.m. So that lets you guys know on the East Coast, I am live. So please come on and say hello. On the West Coast, 8:13 p.m. But you guys say hi. I'm live. I know it's 11 o'clock. It's later than I normally am here, but I'm here. So, all right. So, what were your thoughts on that Rams game? Now, let me just come in and point something out. That Rams and Seattle game was the NFC West matchup. You guys know they're in the same division. They've been playing great football all season, even though the Rams had a couple of hiccups with subpar teams that ended up not really being subpar at the end. I guess that's how they beat the Rams to begin with. They basically played all the naysayers out at the very end of the season to show that they deserve to be where they are. But they literally stood 10 toes on that game and tried to give Seattle the run for their money, like they always do when it is your arch nemesis, your divisional rival, all that stuff. So if you look at it like that, 31-27, like the Rams always had the 30s for the entire playoff session. Matter of fact, same score when my Panthers were playing them, the 30s. Now, because Seattle's defense has been so dominant, they were able to outlast the Rams in the NFC Championship. But what I really want to talk about the most is Davante Adams, y'all. Initially, I really did not feel bad for the Rams having been tossed up out of the playoffs. You guys know why. I'm Petty Betty. You beat my team, you'll lose later, and I'll be here waiting for you on the couch. Well, in this instance, I saw a clip, and it came full circle for me to actually feel a little empathy for my fellow man. And it came in the clip from Davante Adams. I did not realize, guys, he has been to the playoffs 5 times. 5 times and no brass for it. Now, when they spoke with him after the game, he could barely speak. He was visibly choked up. In fact, a lot of those guys have been kind of quiet on social media, with the exception, they're like still in disbelief. They literally thought that they could upend their NFC West nemesis, the Seattle Seahawks. So I guess I posed the question, like, who does Davante need to be with to get there? Will the Rams be back next season? I mean, they have a lot of solid pieces on both sides of the ball. But we saw Sean McVay hot in 2018 when they went to the Super Bowl. But we haven't seen that Sean McVay in a long time. He's got a lot of starters that are in their second year, getting ready to go into their third year. Maybe 3 times is a charm. But I do believe if Seattle keeps everybody in the place where they have them now, they will be back again, and they will be something to contend with going forward. So I don't know. They asked Davante, would he be coming back with the Rams? He's just like, hey, and even Matt Stafford, they were like talking to him, and he was basically like, I'm not going to answer certain questions. Like, we're emotional right now. We don't want to answer these questions. So yeah, told the reporters next and everything. So we'll see, how that goes. Now, on the other side of this Super Bowl, you have the New England Patriots. Of course, I told you guys starting out that Drake May has been dealing with some right shoulder. I'm going to be specific. Right shoulder injury. He's been limited. You guys saw the game that he just played in against the against the Broncos, and he was sacked very hard and landed on that right shoulder. I can't even imagine being an athlete with my throwing arm having an injury. I actually had reconstructive surgery on my right shoulder, and I can't imagine the injury that he's dealing with and enduring, and having to actually be formidable and to continue to carry that team despite any elements and despite whatever else is going on. So he did miss practice, guys. He missed today's practice, and he also did not practice on Wednesday. Now, in addition, this is what's crazy, guys. Now, Wednesday, they said it was precautionary that he was being held out of practice. That's what the word was Wednesday from Mike Vrabel. Today, he's listed as now having an illness. This is according to Yahoo Sports. He has an illness on top of having that right shoulder injury. And he's now listed questionable for the Super Bowl. Now, that's big. Because if Drake May is not your quarterback in this Super Bowl, I do believe your Super Bowl could turn ugly really quick. The advantage that Seattle has is this game is in San Francisco, so it's still on the West Coast. It's a familiar territory for Seattle. They go to this stadium twice a season. This is almost like a home game for them, even though it's the 49ers turf. Sam and them are comfortable there. It's the equivalent of your team playing their Super Bowl in your divisional rival's stadium. You're basically at home. You're very comfortable there. You've been there. You may play at your home once, but you at least go to them one other time. So you have been there several seasons. It's nothing. For the Patriots, they are still on the West Coast, I'm assuming. I'm believing they said they stayed there the entire 2 weeks because they actually arrived one day before the Denver game, go figure. But they pulled it off. But they are basically heading from Denver down to California. And so they are there. They are prepping. But they are in unfamiliar territory. How often does the Patriots play in San Francisco? We don't even play those teams. Certain NFC teams, the way the schedules are posed and trajected, it's like every couple of years. It's an algorithm, or every 4 years. You do not hear of the Patriots on a regular basis playing on the West Coast, specifically in Santa Clara. So, y'all, if Drake May is ill, first of all, I hope he feels better. It did say he missed practice today, and he is listed as questionable, even though Mike Vrabel came out and said he's still not worried about his throwing shoulder. I don't know, guys. As I always say, the verdict's still out. We'll talk about that a little bit later next week, right before the game, because some of the things you have to keep an eye on as the time gets closer. If you think about it, this is a rematch of Super Bowl 49 between both of the teams. The Malcolm Butler goal line interception game. Patriots are seeking their 7th title, which would break their tie with the Steelers. You guys know the Steelers have 6. Cowboys and the 49ers have 5, so they're on a quest for 6. So this is big for the Patriots, and it's even bigger that your first-year coach, Mike Vrabel, former Tennessee Titan coach, gets it done in his first year with this team is nothing but astounding. And I definitely feel that he is coach of the year. Of course, all those accolades will be handed out a little bit later on. But I mean, if you think about the fact that this is like a chess match, and the psychological weight of the rematch, like the fact to know that they are basically doing a rematch of Super Bowl 49, which was 11 years ago, and to know that the players are different, of course, but the game is the same, is going to be incredibly interesting to see who's available, to see how they play, and to see, if everybody's really up for the task. And it's going to be big because I'm going to tell you without a doubt, if Mike Vrabel goes in and wins this Super Bowl, he is hands down not only the best coach of the season, he's going to be getting so many other accolades. And this is a testament to just how well of a coach and how thorough of a coach Mike Vrabel really is, and the fact that he just really needed the pieces around him to solidify the victories with his teams. All right. There's a lot of movement with coaching this week. I know we talked a little bit about it on Wednesday, but allow me to talk to some of you guys who may be on tonight that were not on my Wednesday show. Feel free to go back at any point on my YouTube and all the socials and just scroll down and find a previous episode and watch it from there. It's just a lot of movement, guys. The Bills actually promoted their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, to head coach. After interviewing all these people, having people's hopes up, they literally felt like all alone, I guess, that they already had their person. So you're like, okay, I guess, it's the rooming rule. You gotta actually interview your applicants, or at least narrow down a list of applicants and interview some of them. So they ended up promoting Joe Brady as head coach. Kudos to him. The Browns, who I told you guys earlier, got rid of. Well, I don't want to say got rid of. No, they did. Kevin Stefanski. They hired Todd Monken as their head coach. And the Raiders and Cardinals still do not have their head coaches, guys. So Pete Carroll's position has not been filled, and Glennon's position has not been filled. They are now in the process of interviewing the assistants for the Rams and the Broncos. Now that they're home, their coaches can now be interviewed for these vacancies. The Commanders hired the Vikings defensive back coach Durante Jones as their new DC. And Mike Kafka is going to join the Lions as a high-ranking offensive assistant. Now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the Lions. Their roar has been dull last season. They barely finished 500. And I tell you guys all the time, if you get rid of your OC and your DC, or they leave, what have you, if there's any separation that you're no longer part of that, at some point it's going to be very obvious. And it was very obvious that the Lions would at some point show us that they were basically going back into hibernation, and we saw it. So hopefully Mike Kafka can really bring some good offense there. He's high ranking, like I said. And even though it really is a moot issue because the Bills already promoted Joe Brady to the head coach, Philip Rivers just does not want to stay home with those kids, y'all. All right, y'all know you saw him tossing balls around for the Colts. He came back. He's been out of the league. This month would have been 5 years. And also, their benefits expire after 5 years. So he was like, let me get back out there and get my benefits renewed. So he came out, tossed a couple of balls around to some guys, had a couple of good plays. People joked about, how different he looked. But hey, he's like mid-40s. He could do that. Aaron Rodgers was no longer the oldest quarterback in the league, turning 42 in December, this past December. Now you got Philip Rivers. So Philip Rivers, they were like, thank you for your service. We are now going to release you back home with your kids and that one grandchild that you have and your wife, of course. So Philip is like, all right. Then he sees the coaching vacancies and he's like, hold on. I would love to be interviewed for the head coaching position in Buffalo because I think that I can take Sean McDermott's place. Now, mind you, some of the people that were supposedly interested in the position, like once all the stuff came out, nobody wanted to freaking work in Buffalo. Nobody wants to work up there with that. You came out and said, the owner, that you terminated Sean McDermott because your quarterback, you came in the locker room and saw your quarterback crying after the AFC championship game. Like he was going to be crying. Divisional. He was going to be crying. Who would be expressing any other type of emotion after that type of energy is expended and you lose? You would be crying. So that's why he said he fired him. But I digress, as I say. All right, guys. So we're going to take a 2-minute break here. I am going to play a quick little commercial here. You have a few more days left. Get your phones out for your QR codes for Pearson Jones and her scholarship drive here. And this way, you guys can actually see what she is all about and how amazing she is. And she's a senior at Southwest Guilford. Hopefully, we can get her back on soon. But here is Pearson Jones, and this is her singing. It's like that with Chuck Price.
The God above made you a masterpiece. The vision is clearer, nearer. My God, to thee, learning to lean on his power. Your perspective can be sweet when circumstances are sour. I'm saying. You can see the vision clearer. Your identity is waiting, and you feel that hope is fading. Just hold on, it's gonna be alright. Trust in God, stand firm and hold tight. It's like that, yeah, yeah. It's like that, yeah, yeah. Meditation, I'm searching for a peace that's not present. I'm searching for feelings of solitude, emotions that's pleasant. Treasure, what do you deem important versus essential? We put our heart and soul in every line behind instrumentals. Coincidental? I think not. God's plan from the very beginning. Create the type of music that make people think twice before sinning. Pleading, Holy Father, please forgive our trespasses. Confusing things we want for things we need in life, our must-haves. Selfish, inconsiderate, narcissistic people. Christ died for all the world, so there is power in Jesus. Issues happen, disagreements, dissensions, distortions. This fallen flesh, we still forget sometimes that God is our portion. Forcing, others won't cut it, nor manipulation. One thing that's very destructive is self-righteous behavior. Satan, he's crafty, throwing darts like Bailey's.
All right. Thank you so much again. Shout out to Pearson Jones and Chuck Price on the beats like that. And if you guys have any questions about anything, always you could DM me, drop a comment or what have you. Pearson is well accomplished and she's super appreciative for everyone who has supported her thus far. So, and by the way, make sure you guys actually go on and subscribe to our YouTube. It's at Prim and Proper Sports. If you're not watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button when you do get over there. And if you're on Facebook, hit that thumbs up, like, love, all that good stuff. And of course, on TikTok, it's the Pretty Sports Lady. Instagram, the same handle, and all things football from a lady's perspective on Facebook. And I cannot thank you guys enough because now that we're wrapping up January, this is literally my 10th year podcasting. I started the spring of 2016, and that time has really flown by. And I'm very appreciative to Mac McGrath. I dedicate every one of my shows in his honor. Last spring, we unfortunately lost him. Great producer over at Northeast Streaming Sports. We've since launched a secondary streaming service in his honor, McGrath Streaming Network. And so shout out to his wife, Miss Linda, who keeps us all together and involved through the memory of Max. So, all right, guys. So let's move on to the second half of the show. And I will bid you guys a good night after that. All right. So basically, there's some interviews still basically going on right now, but Bobby Babich, the Packers defensive pass game coordinator or secondary coach, and Brian Duker, Jets defensive coordinator, as well as Adam Henry for the Steelers wide receiver coaches. Those are also moves that have gone on throughout this entire week, honestly. Just this week, it's just been really, really, really busy. But here we go. Active interviews that are still ongoing right now are the Broncos pass game coordinator, Jim Leonard, is interviewing for the Ravens defensive coordinator job. The coach of the Colts, offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter, is interviewing for the New York offensive coordinator job. And the Colts passing game coordinator, Alex Tanney, is also interviewing for the New York offensive coach job. So, offensive coordinator coach. So it's a lot of moving pieces. It feels like every week, honestly, y'all, that there's more vacancies that no one was really aware of. Like, I'm curious as to just how many people kind of like had already thrown their hat in the ring, so to speak, to say, hey, okay, this is what we're doing, and I'm already gonna throw my hat in the ring and be ready to go to another team. But good luck to them. All right, let's talk about some player movement and trade rumors. Now, I talked to you guys at the top of the show about free agency, about the salary cap being increased, and I told you guys, unfortunately, some teams, even with the increase of over $300 million for the first time in NFL history, it would not be beneficial to some teams. And some of those teams are a lot of star players. The first one that is the most noted above, according to CBS Sports, is none other than Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from the Miami Dolphins, AJ Brown from the Philadelphia Eagles, and there are several other names that have been dropped, guys, about being moved during Super Bowl week. So you don't want to take the hoopla away from Super Bowl because the NFL is never stopping. But teams like the Dolphins and the Cardinals may also absorb a lot of dead money to try to reset quarterback contracts. So even with this increase in salary cap, there's still a lot of quarterback restructuring. And when I speak of the Cardinals, I'm talking about Kyler Murray. And of course, I already mentioned Tua Tagovailoa, because if you're thinking about potential trade candidates, where in the world could Tua even go? Now, let's be clear. We've seen some disgust from AJ Brown all over social media. I really think social media is like the downfall of today's athletes, because nobody's frustrations are kept in house anymore. They're everywhere as if we were all there front and center. And I remember a time when Antonio Brown actually got in trouble when he was with, let me see, was it one of those California teams? Oh yeah, it was the Raiders, and it was when Jack Del Rio was there, and he basically aired out a conversation that was in their locker room, and he spoke very negative about the organization, and he was disciplined for that. But I guess, you know, a few years removed, everybody's just free, freedom of speech. They want to make sure everybody can say what they want to say. But just look at it. Now, additional notes today, the Giants have officially waived their backup quarterback, Tommy DeVito. And you guys already know that the Browns traded Kenny Pickett. So those are news you guys are already aware of. But if you look at Tua, where would Tua even go? We've seen him look like he was solid a couple of seasons ago. This season, it was an up and down, just not there. And if you're talking about a name like that, could he go somewhere else and literally ball out? We've seen it. We've seen it with Daniel Jones. Like, we've seen it. Sam Darnold is a key factor of that. So if you just think about all of that, there's got to be a place for him in the NFL. He can't be hanging up his cleats just yet. All right, guys. So this is what's crazy. Now, this goes on all the time, but now it's been spoken about again with the Seattle Seahawks making the Super Bowl. There was rumors again, y'all, about Paul Allen's estate selling the Seattle Seahawks. Now, you guys will probably remember when Pete Carroll was there, right after he was released, they basically said that Pete was released because it was in the will that the team was going to be sold. And so Pete just bowed out because he had connections to the Allen family. Well, they're denying that again, y'all. So I don't know. I don't know where these rumors keep generating, but they are resurfacing every couple of years. I'm going to say now, if they were to sell now, this would be when they really could go to the highest bidder because they are playing incredible football. So if it is a rumor, okay, but if it's not, then we'll be staying tuned so we can see just how many billions of dollars this franchise goes for. Other terminations. The Minneapolis team, the Minnesota Vikings, they fired their general manager, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, because they missed the playoffs. Dude, you guys have been missed the playoffs. You're just firing him. He's fired. All right. You guys remember earlier when I talked about Santa Clara? Let's talk about the 49ers for a minute. This is just sad. I don't know how to even think. I don't know if it's just players that are honorary, or upset, or if there's truly some type of imbalance or a bigger problem going on with them mentally. Brandon Ayuk, guys, when's the last time we've seen him? Well, he stopped coming to practice. He stopped suiting up. He stopped coming to games. Some of his teammates said they hadn't seen him in weeks, months, heard from him, period. Ayuk has likely played his last snap for the 49ers. He had knee injuries initially, didn't go to the rehab sessions that the team had lined up for him to get better. This actually contributed to them actually saying, okay, we're probably going to go ahead and axe him. Well, lo and behold, he's not done with the league, though. And a landing spot for him is projected for him to be reunited with one of his besties, Mr. Deebo Samuel, in Washington. So stay tuned. We will see how that all pans out. All right. Let's see right here. All right, let me go through a little revisionist history with you guys before I get ready to hop off of here. Kansas City Chiefs. This was the season this is the reason why all this stuff went down with the Bills, honestly. Everybody was like, hey, Josh Allen, you don't have Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. You don't have Patrick Mahomes. You've got to win this year. Like, this is your opportunity. So my first statement is the window closing or has closed for Josh Allen? Like, Buffalo, you guys know, went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row. Do you know how hard it is to go to the Super Bowl just twice in a row? How hard is it to get there the first time? These guys went 4 consecutive years with no championship. So even though that's a different team, it's still Buffalo, it's still Bills Mafia, and they still stand on their support of their team. The fact that they literally came so close. And I'm going to be honest, I had them going to the Super Bowl. I thought they could take out Denver. I thought they could take out the Patriots because I felt like at the end of the day, the veteran Josh Allen would come in and could trump Bo Nix, who's a rookie still, even though it's his second year, and could trump Drake May, his second year as well. But it never got that far. So when you look at the fact that the Bills were like that, let's look at who I'm talking about. Kansas City. Now, first of all, they have some financial issues. They were projected to be $62 million over their own cap. And even with the cap raising, they're still over $52 million. So it only saved them like $4 million, y'all. Brett Veach has a little bit of wiggle room to keep the core together. But honestly, after the way their season ended, y'all, the cap jump actually gives them a chance to be more aggressive than expected. I mean, the 49ers, but for those injuries, looked really good. I thought that they were going to make a playoff run as well, but they didn't. So they did, and then they didn't. And that was pretty much how it goes. All right, so as I get ready to wrap up here, because I'm going to wrap up here, these are things you guys need to actually be watching for heading into Super Bowl week, which will kick off here Sunday. It will officially be 1 week. You're going to see the Pro Bowl, aka flag football, and all that stuff. Want to keep an eye out on the Drake May health updates. It could be from this illness he's now disclosed for today. It's probably, I don't want to guess, but it's a lot of stuff going around. I'll just say that. So it could be something as simple as that, but that's still affect your plan. I mean, unless you're, you know, Jalen Hurts. We saw him with the Eagles take a separate plane and everything from him being sick a couple of seasons ago. He still got it done. We're gonna look at, the fact that he's ill and this shoulder injury and being listed as questionable, which is, I think, just a little, like a little ace in the hole. Like, basically, we're not gonna say yes yet that he's available. We're gonna see what everybody runs with, and then we'll let you know if he's coming. He's coming. He'll be there. Then, so you want to look at the final injury report from Seattle, and you want to look at the final injury report for the Patriots. That should be released midweek of next week, probably around Wednesday or Thursday. And coaching hires, because I told you guys there's still 2 positions that are up for grabs for head coaches, and a couple of coordinator positions that are out there. That news is going to be all the time. And then the early free agency positioning. We're going to also be looking at what happens with Tua and what happens with AJ and anybody else they decide to throw in the ring that is expendable, that they need to meet these cap space, the caps. They need to make them. They need to make cap deadlines or whatever, and ahead and all that good stuff. And also teams that are preparing for that new cap realities, like some of them that is not really beneficial, like the Chiefs. You guys, it only saved you $4 million. What's going to happen with Travis Kelce? What's going to happen with Patrick Mahomes? Your big stars. What are you doing to Chris Jones? Like, you just revamped Chris Jones' contract a couple seasons ago. He is not trying to get you to revamp him and cut anything from him. So good luck with that. And of course, the psychological buildup to a rematch of one of the most iconic Super Bowls ever, from Super Bowl 49, and it's now Super Bowl 60. So with that, guys, I appreciate you all. I hope you have the most amazing weekend. This show will not re-air because it is so late now that I am doing it. You guys could just hit the rewind button if you're on here and the live indicator is no longer active. Do want to wish everybody well on this final Friday. I don't plan on being here next Wednesday for a live because it's my birthday, but we shall see, because you just never know. It's maybe something, I need to come up here, but the guys will definitely be holding the page down, and we'll definitely be having several shows all the time. So you can always come on and join us and just have a lot of fun. It's all about fun, but you guys make sure you engage and follow us on all the social medias. And with that, I will bid everybody a good night.